I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Good morning again, everybody. Isn't it beautiful? We love it. Thank you so much again for coming. And once again, my name is Janet Pope, and I'm the Executive Director of the Linwood Public Facilities District. And this is a really, really big day for us. First of all, I would love to see a show of hands of who has heard of the Linwood Public Facilities District. Well, that's pretty good, but not all of you. For short, we're the Linwood PFD, and we are the owners of the Linwood Convention Center and this 13 acres that is surrounding us here, and our task is shepherding this lovely property and a great site here in Linwood, and hopefully continuing to grow it and develop it for many, many years to come. I'm also very pleased to reintroduce our own Chef Michael Elsenstein there. And if you haven't visited his table, I encourage you to stop by before you leave and get one of his sweet treats. We're super proud to have him here representing and leading our food and beverage team with his culinary vision. What? Let's grab. These are what I'm hoping not to have to use today. And later in the program, I'll share a little bit more about the exciting things happening here at the center and this property, which we call the front door to the downtown core of Linwood. But what we're really here today to do is celebrate this beautiful contribution to the Linwood arts and cultural landscape, BK Choi's Love Your New Neighbor sculpture, I should say, excuse me. And BK and others will tell you a little bit more about his inspiration for the piece and its theme of inclusiveness and equity shortly. But the PFD is so honored and grateful to have this beautiful piece on our property as a bold symbol of what we want the community to stand for. So we've all been through some dark and challenging times lately. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s words, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." So for us here at the PFD, this sculpture is a symbol of love and inclusiveness that defines what we want to develop here at this ideal property at this key point in history, which brings both broad diversity and growth for the city of Linwood. And what better day than Valentine's Day to introduce this giant heart and help us remember that love is the most enduring power in the universe. We at the PFD want to embrace I Love Linwood, not only as a fun idea to build momentum for our businesses and tourism events, but also as a cultural touchstone for the community. And I really hope on those dark, rainy nights, as you are stuck at this stoplight, as I've been many, many times in my life, at this busy, busy intersection, you can see this sculpture all lit up, which we will have it lit up tonight, and embrace some of that light and love in your own heart, and then share that with all your neighbors. That's the power of what art can do for a community. So this project initially started out as a solution to a problem. Here at the PFD, we were worried about what would happen if a vehicle jumped the curb and came driving towards these windows. And obviously, an ugly concrete barrier wasn't going to be the answer. So we took our challenge to the city, and they have been truly wonderful partners coordinating this process to bring us to this day. And so to help talk about their vision of all what this could be, I'm very happy to introduce our new mayor for the city of Linwood, Mayor Christine Frizzell.
Thank you very much, Janet. It's a joy to look out and see faces, almost all of them masked. I hope for a day soon that will change, as I'm sure you all do. And having a symbol of love in our community means a lot to me. It's so easy to look at people's differences and jump to judgment and hate. But if we really look across the aisle, we look across this room and we see the diversity that is in this room, we can do nothing other than love as human beings one to another. And that's my heart's desire as we look at this sculpture. And I know that many, many people were involved with bringing this to Linwood. And I love that it's at the entrance to Linwood. People that have come from places far away come, and it's one of the first visual signs they see. And it's my goal and my hope that this sculpture will embrace our community. So I did want to go through a little bit of history here. This project grew out of a workshop called For the Love of Lynnwood in 2016. And in that workshop, people talked about Linwood being a lovable city. I've got to say, I've lived in Linwood most of my life, and I never thought about a city being lovable. I've often thought about a city being livable, that we provide the streets and the lights and the infrastructure and the police department and the fire department, but to me it was livable until about 10 years ago, and I started to see it with a different lens. And that's my hope, is that we will continue to see our city through someone else's lens, whether it be my neighbor or the person down the street. So the idea of creating a lovable city through public art, strong neighborhoods, and community projects, the more that we come together, the more we realize how truly alike we are, that we're really not all that different from the person sitting next to us. So in 2018, Convention Center General Manager Sarah Blaine and the City of Linwood staff member Fred Wong, I saw Fred here, where are you at? Fred hanging out in the back. They started to brainstorm ideas that would carry the Love of Lynnwood theme, not just for that year or that time, but into the future. And that was also the brainchild of History and Heritage Commissioner Sherry Ryan, right there. Sherry Ryan. It was her idea to display a sculpture similar to works of art in Amsterdam and other cities. Isn't it great that we can learn from other countries? We don't have to say, oh, we're just going to be Linwood and we're only going to embrace the ideas that are Linwood's, but we can learn from other cultures and other people. So our local artist, BK Choi, and I've seen him right there. What a great creative mind you must have. He drew from his experience of growing up in Linwood, and he also talked with Betty Lou Gang. And where's Betty Lou? Right there. I used to love reading her articles in the newspaper that talked about the history of Linwood, and even though I grew up here, she went back further than that and told stories of how Linwood came into being, and to have that history represented here and partnering with BK has been awesome. So I also want to thank the Arts Commission and the History and Heritage Board for supporting this project. As you know, nothing in government gets done quickly. We take time, and we take whatever time we have to get things done sometimes that we think, oh, you know, the city should be able to do something overnight, but government rarely works that way. But also, I'd also like to thank Janet Pope and the Convention Center staff and the wonderful treats, of which some are gluten-free, for hosting our celebration. And I love Linwood, I love being a part of this community, and I hope you do too. Thank you.
Yeah, so many thanks to all of you who are here on a Monday morning. I'm a kid that grew up down the street. My parents, who are here today, they're back there, still live in the house that I grew up in on Poplar Way. We moved into that house in 1991 when we moved here from Seoul, South Korea. Linwood looked a lot different back in those days. For example, I remember there was one hole-in-the-wall Korean market on 196 and Highway 99, and which you would have totally missed if you really weren't looking for it. And that is a far cry from the H Mart that we all know and love down the street, and the half a dozen other Korean markets that are in the area now. Linwood was very much an idyllic place for me to grow up, for my brother and myself. I don't remember being teased or bullied for being different or not speaking English well, which I realize I'm very lucky. And two of my closest friends in elementary school were this white kid named Jimmy and an Iranian kid named Hamid. We were welcomed in each other's homes and had a lot of fun playing together, mostly video games, but yeah. Fast forward 25 years, and when I saw the request for the proposal for the I Love Lynnwood project, I thought about how I could contribute with my story. I realized that I actually knew very little about the history of this place that I grew up in. So I thought of no better person to meet with and talk to than Betty Lou Gang, who's here today. She's also visiting from Alaska, so she made the long trip to be here, so thank you, Betty. And she was then recently honored as Linwood's official historian. And she told me her stories of growing up in the 30s and the 40s in Alderwood Manor, which is what this area was called then. And what I noticed in her stories is that the early homesteaders and families like mine had something in common. And many of the homesteaders then were European immigrants trying to find a better place to live and a place to call home. And my parents moved us here from Korea for the same reasons, so that my brother and I could have better opportunities. And we all settled where we are today, which has welcomed us and allowed us to build community. And today, people from different parts of the world continue to arrive in this region for different reasons, whether they be economic, political, religious, and so on. There's a traditional Korean handicraft and art form similar to a quilt called jogakbo. That's spelled Jogakbo, jogakbo. Jogak means a piece or a fragment, and bo means a cloth or for covering or wrapping. And as the name suggests, it's composed of many different pieces of fabric of all shapes, sizes, and colors. But despite the irregularities and the differences among the pieces, they're balanced and fit together harmoniously to create a whole that's greater than the sum of its parts. This is what I try to represent in my art installation out there. And my hope is that Linwood continues to be the kind of place that welcomes new arrivals and creates not only the physical space, but also the economic, social, and emotional space for them to thrive. I would like to give thanks to those, excuse me, my phone is ringing. Should have turned this off for you. I would like to give thanks to those who were part of this process and made this possible. Betty Gang for her tireless work in preserving history and memory of this place we call home. Fred Wong in the city of Linwood and the PFD for giving me the opportunity to tell my story. Dylan Newworth, who's back there, and the Western Neon team that built and installed the piece. It's a great pleasure working with you guys, and I hope we can do it again soon. The Elizabeth Ruth Wallace Foundation for providing the means to make this possible. And last but not least, for all of you who are here to experience this together, let's make Linwood the best we can make it. Thank you.
Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And thank you all for being here today. It's really a pleasure to see such a great turnout. And Mother Nature cooperated, so I think Mother Nature also loves Linwood. I have a little story to tell today because the genesis of this amazing project, Sherry Ryan and Kevin Stadler, those two names, take a moment. They are very special people to this city. They share a deep love of this city, its history, and of course, their passion and love for Heritage Park. So a few years ago, when Sherry and Kevin reached out to me and said, Lynn, we want to come and see you. We have something we want to talk about. And I thought, great, I see Kevin a lot, and I've known Sherry and Kevin for almost 15 years, but to have them come to my office, this must be really something special. And I was so thrilled when they came, and they sat down with me and said, we are the trustees of our Aunt Betty, as she was affectionately known by Kevin and Sherry. The official name of the living trust was the Elizabeth Ruth Wallace Living Trust. So Aunt Betty was already in my mind somebody really special. And they proceeded to tell me the reason they were here to see me today was they wanted to donate $500,000, $500,000 from this living trust to the Linwood Parks and Recreation Foundation. And of course, I think my heart skipped 500,000 beats when they said that to me. And I remember vividly looking at them in my office and saying to them, did you just say $500,000? And Sherry and Kevin looked at each other. Kevin has this sheepish grin. And they just looked at each other and then said, yeah, $500,000. So I recovered quickly, and then they proceeded to tell me, well, there's really 3 things we want to accomplish with this gift. The first being to install a new playground at Heritage Park for children and families to enjoy. The second, a little bit more intricate and involved, was to complete the renovation of the 100-year-old water tower, the structure that was moved to Heritage Park in 2003. And they reminded me that this structure is one of only 2 that remain from the Alderwood Manor demonstration farm. Again, some of our rich history. And lastly, this wonderful idea was included in their list, and here we are celebrating its creation today. So I am so proud to say to all of you today, we completed the playground installation 2.5 years ago. The water tower renovation was just completed last week. The certificate of occupancy should be issued this week to the city of Linwood. The tower, you will not recognize the interior of this beautiful 100-year-old structure. There is going to be a wonderful meeting space, a deck on the outside to look at the beautiful park. And we're going to tell the story, some of the history inside that room. And of course, today with the launch of this beautiful sculpture. So Sherry and Kevin, on behalf of the Foundation Board, the City of Linwood, and my team at the Parks and Recreation and Cultural Arts Department, thank you for your amazing generosity, your spirit and love for the city and its rich history. We all thank you so very much.
Well, Lynn, I remember that day very well, too, when we came and visited you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Aunt Betty to put it in perspective and how we actually had $500,000 to give to the foundation. Elizabeth Ruth Wallace was born in Montana and came out here to Alderwood Manor with my grandparents, Katie and Emil Stadler. My grandma had immigrated here from Hungary, and our grandfather had immigrated here from Switzerland. The family came in 1928, and our father was born in 32. The house that he was born in here in Alderwood Manor is still up the street. Betty and her 7 siblings all lived, and when I say up the street, I literally mean up 36th, about a mile. That time it was called North Trunk North. And they grew up, went to Alderwood Grade School, which had been right across the street here. And between the 8 children, 4 of them had children and stayed here in Alderwood Manor. And Kevin and I were lucky. We grew up next door to 13 of our cousins. We thought everybody lived right next door to their family. So family was a big thing to us, and Alderwood Manor was a big thing to us. This little area right here was the center of Alderwood Manor. Sadly, the freeway kind of took that right down the middle. But Alderwood Manor never lost its heart, and it soon became Linwood. And as Mayor Frisco said, that I Love Amsterdam, I think you've probably seen it, and when Kevin and I were starting to decide how we could use the money that was left behind in my aunt's trust. She lived in Mountain View, California, in the heart of Silicon Valley, and had a lot of rental units, so that's all I have to say about that. But besides the playground at the park and the water tower, because we're very involved with the Linwood Alderwood Manor Heritage Association, we wanted to give something from the Stadler family and my Aunt Betty to the city of Linwood. And that's what we came up with this idea. In 1997, a Seattle Times reporter, he did an article on Marie Little, and I don't know if that name means anything to you, but she was a great historian here in Linwood. And his comment was, Linwood does not have a history or a heart. And that has stuck with me over all these years, because I know that's not true. We have a rich, rich history, and there's a lot of heart in this community. Kevin and I grew up here, graduated from Linwood High School. We've seen that heart through the years. So today we are ecstatic that the heart of Linwood is here. Thank you.
Okay, let me see you all. Hello and a good morning to you all. Happy Valentine's Day. My name is Nas Lashkeri. I'm honored to be here today to be part of this momentous occasion for the Convention Center and City of Linwood, with love and celebrating diversity. I serve on the Snohomish County Public Facilities District Board, and I am the former chair of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the City of Linwood. I would like to thank Janet Pope for inviting me to be part of this great occasion. We are gathered here today in Snohomish County, and we must acknowledge that we occupy the ancestral lands of the Coast Salish people and are gathered on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Salish people, in particular the Snohomish tribe. We respect you and respect your right to sovereignty. And I also would like to acknowledge that February is Black History Month, and we honor the sacrifices of the African Americans who have built this nation. As the previous chair of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, I initiated the All Are Welcome campaign for the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission at the City of Linwood. I am happy to have been instrumental in bringing the All Are Welcome decals to our city, which, as reported by Linwood Today on February 1st, has inspired the colors of this beautiful artwork done by our local artist, Mr. B.K. Choi. This heart will be covered in jokatbo. Am I pronouncing that right, Mr. Choi? Yes. A traditional Korean wrapping, as he mentioned, a cloth technique to show how beautifully different pieces come together, creating the tapestry of our community. Mr. Choi has used pink, blue, green, and yellow in honor of Linwood's diversity, equity, and inclusion, and in line with the All Are Welcome decals background that was also used for the city's traffic signal box displaying and celebrating the diversity and the inclusiveness of our city. I believe public art plays a very important role in bringing more focus on equity and social justice. Every step towards celebrating diversity brings more attention to equity and inclusion for the marginalized members of our community. And this public art of heart by Mr. Choi is a perfect visual reminder and representation of the diversity in our city where all are welcome. Love Lynnwood was started by the Linwood Facilities District, as I understand, to increase tourism for the city of Linwood. But I also think that our previous mayor Nicholas Smith was influential in bringing love into the conversation for our city to make For the Love of Linwood and All Are Welcome a work-in-progress reality for our city. As the city of Linwood moves forward and continues to grow, it is wonderful that our new mayor, Mayor Christine Frizzell, is on the same path that Mayor Nicholas Smith had paved to continue the great work of operating with love and including all members of our community here in the city of Linwood, regardless of race, gender, country of origin, religion, sexual orientation, disabilities, or any other discriminatory factors marginalizing people of Linwood. The tapestry of Linwood is changing, and we are becoming more diverse by the day. As we celebrate the diversity of our community by including everyone in the conversation, we should operate with our hearts and be truly inclusive. As we celebrate the diversity of our city with this colorful, beautiful artwork at Linwood Convention Center, we remind everyone visiting our city or living or working or playing in our city that we do indeed celebrate each unique culture and individual, and remind everyone that with our hearts for the love of our city, we can have an equitable city where all are welcome to thrive, be included, and celebrated. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much to everybody for your wonderful words, and once again for being here. We're gonna wrap this up so you can all get out there and get more pictures. Don't forget to share them on your social media, please. In addition, I would love to thank our council members that are present. I believe Council President George Hurst is here. There we go. And Council Vice President Jim Smith, and Council Members Shannon Sessions and Altamirano Crosby is here. In addition, we have a few of our Public Facilities District board members here. We have Mike Miller and Wally Webster II, I believe, is here. Any other, where are you, Wally? I know I saw you. He left. Any other board members sneak in? I don't think so. Okay. And also a very, very special thank you to our Public Facilities District staff members and our Convention Center staff members who made all this happen. Thank you. Before we go today, I want to talk a little bit more about what is to come here, though. You may have seen some folks here from the Seattle Kraken wandering a little bit about. This is because we are pleased to announce that we have new operators here at the Linwood Convention Center. Oakview Facilities Group began operating here on February 1st, and you may know them as the operators of Climate Pledge Arena and the Kraken Practice Arena at Northgate. And also due to a recent merger, they are now the operators at the Angel of the Winds Arena in Everett. So we're very excited about the synergies that we can create with all these partnerships here in King and Snohomish County. And on that note, Ms. Mayor, I'd like to invite you back up here to present a Kraken jersey to symbolize our new partnership we have with OVG. While she's coming up, let me introduce you. She's still our interim for a while, helping us with this transition. But this is Shura Garnett, our interim general manager here.
Hi, thank you. So on behalf of Oakview Group, Climate Pledge Arena, and the Seattle Krakens, I'd like to present you with your own personalized journey, number 32, from Mayor Frizzell.
Oh, you need one more?
I have one more.
Oh, that's pretty exciting.
And again, on behalf of Oakview Group Facilities, the Seattle Kraken, and Climate Pledge Arena, we have another personalized jersey for Janet Pope, also number 32.
Yay!
I just want to thank everybody for allowing us to be part of this community, and to thank our family of Oakview Group members for coming over to join us this morning.
That is so exciting. Okay, so let me share a little bit more about why we think that Oakview Facilities Group is such a good fit for the Linwood Convention Center. Well, we've had a really successful past and bringing business opportunities here to the city. We all know that times are changing rapidly here with light rail approaching and the growth in Plainfield and just growth in general that's coming here. So it is really time for the PFD to take our mission of serving as an economic catalyst for the community and a cornerstone for the city of Linwood's revitalization efforts to the next level. So we're going to do that by expanding our targeted key performance indicators far beyond just the profit and loss, bottom line things, to include real measurable impacts on the community, including sustainability, diversity, equity, and inclusion, arts and culture, improved economic vitality in the region, and increased public benefits for this beautiful community asset. So we're going to do this with our partnership with Oakview Facilities Group, as well as developing all the surrounding property and expanding additional partnerships across the county and state. Big stuff is happening this year, and much more is coming as we do our master planning this year. And we'll be holding community design meetings and posting updates. So I Love Lynnwood is not only about this beautiful sculpture out here, but it's a movement. And we want to keep all of you involved in this movement. So keep checking back on social media and on the I Love Lynnwood website so that you know what's going on and stay involved with us. Thanks again for coming today. Happy Valentine's Day. Please go enjoy the sculpture. Walk around the convention center. If you've seen the artwork up here, this is another very rare thing that happens in convention centers. We do art exhibits here twice a year. This one is called Northwest Waterways. And we'll be announcing a reception for these artists here in the coming months where you can meet them personally. So that's another public event that is coming up soon. As you celebrate this day of recognition with those you love, please think of your community too. You're all here today, so I know you're already doing that. And also keep in mind these additional words of Dr. King. We have before us the glorious opportunity to inject a new dimension of love into the veins of our civilization. I think that's powerful. Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.